Magnus Carlsen, one of the greatest and most famous chess players on the planet, has reignited his feud with fellow grandmaster Hans Niemann. That's right, the saga of cheating accusations, defamation cases, and anal beads will seemingly never end after Carlsen drummed up the drama on the Joe Rogan Experience last week, with Niemann already responding. On top of a recent denim clad controversy, a massive signing to an esports org, and an upcoming Netflix documentary about the cheating scandal, things are never boring with Magnus Carlsen.
What I can say was that there were a lot of factors that made me very, very suspicious. And I think ever since then he has become better, but there's still something off, both then and now.
Magnus Carlsen has once again catapulted chess into the mainstream gaming and esports sphere, thanks in large part to his blockbuster signing to Team Liquid. He's of course not the only grandmaster chess player to join an org. Hikaru famously signed to TSM back in 2020 during the pandemic's explosion of chess popularity, and has recently joined forces with Falcons. There are of course several others on top of Magnus, including GM Fabiano Caruana, also joining Team Liquid. And a ton more signings came after the announcement of the 2025 Esports World Cup, including chess as a competition, which players needed an org to attend. On top of that, this is also yet another way for chess to continue to grow as it reaches broader gaming fan bases. The increase in streaming, content creation, and general online presence has helped chess grow to a more casual audience. Orgs now getting into the mix and having GMs represent them at tournaments will only continue to increase the general hype around tournaments, rivalries, and so on. It will be interesting to see, and I'm also interested in seeing what Carlsen will be wearing to said tournament, since he's been in the news recently over a completely different affair. Late last year, at the World Rapid Chess Championship, Carlsen was fined and given a warning for showing up to his match in jeans, which was a violation of dress code. In classic Magnus Carlsen fashion, he refused to change, so FIDE didn't pair him up with an opponent, and Magnus forfeited the tournament. Magnus also later claimed that he wouldn't be attending the Blitz World Championship, claiming he was tired of FIDE. It all created quite the stir, with FIDE claiming that this rule applies to everyone and that Carlsen wasn't even the only player fined at that tournament for a dress code violation. However, the next day, FIDE, whether it was pressure from the chess community, Magnus fans, or Magnus himself, changed their dress code to allow jeans. So Carlsen, of course, came back to participate in the Blitz tournament. And although the controversy didn't last all that long, it still didn't stop Carlsen from getting the last laugh by literally auctioning off that exact pair of jeans he wore for charity. And I bring all of this up because, well, it wouldn't be a Magnus Carlsen controversy without Hans Niemann getting into the mix. Niemann made several posts on Twitter commenting on the jeans situation, mostly suggesting that FIDE bent its knee to appease Carlsen due to his power and fame. And things didn't get much better after the results of the Blitz tournament. Magnus and Jan Nepomniachtchi faced off in the grand finals, but after 3 tiebreakers that ended in draws, Magnus suggested that the two share first place. FIDE rules were against it, but after asking around, FIDE president Arkady Dvorkovich eventually agreed to let them share the title, sending Hans Niemann into a literal spiral, claiming that this has never been done before in the history of the sport, and just further evidence that FIDE panders to the whims of Magnus. And I should point out that behind all of this has been some tension between Carlsen and FIDE for a number of reasons, one being Carlsen's freestyle chess tournaments that aren't recognized by FIDE. It seems like FIDE don't want to give him too much power that overshadows their influence on chess, but at the same time don't want Carlsen to walk away since he's the biggest name in the game. Anyway, their relationship clearly perturbs Niemann, and it is understandable given that this is also the guy who accused you of cheating. So fast forward to last week, where Magnus Carlsen appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast, and you just knew that Rogan was going to bring up the cheating allegations. In fact, it was pretty much the second question he asked. I'm sure you all remember, but here's a very quick recap. Niemann pulls off an insane upset, defeating Magnus. Magnus withdraws from the event and implies something nefarious happened. Niemann was banned from chess.com and later admitted to cheating online when he was much younger, but never again. Chess community members and grandmasters took sides, and when the two had an online rematch, Magnus forfeited in protest after his first move. Magnus then released a statement suggesting that during that original match, Niemann didn't seem to be fully concentrating on the chess. Chess.com investigates all the allegations and believes that Niemann cheated online in chess as recently as 2020, but could not find evidence of him doing so over the board. Niemann then sues Carlsen, Hikaru, Chess.com, and a few others for defamation, but it was settled out of court, and Niemann was unbanned from chess.com. And somewhere along the line, someone randomly suggested that Niemann was cheating through anal beads that were giving him positions to play via vibrations. And this brings us to the Rogan interview, where Magnus pretty much starts by dismissing the anal beads claim, saying that it was more likely an invisible earpiece. So Magnus holds firm that Niemann was cheating during their match. In fact, he believes that Niemann's admission to cheating in the past online is actually a far cry from what he's actually guilty of.
I'm not ruling out the factor that chess players are becoming more and more paranoid, because we do have chess engines that basically have perfect chess, right? Like anybody with their phone can, as I think Elon tweeted to Gary once, like, my iPhone can beat you at chess. And I think top level chess has been a lot based on trust, and whenever you have outsiders whom there are these stories about, everybody gets a bit jittery.
Carlsen continues, saying that this whole situation has created paranoia within the chess community, since cheating is becoming harder and harder to detect, and that still, to this day, he believes that Niemann is not playing fairly. He also mentions that his upcoming Netflix documentary that was announced last year will address his side of the story even more, potentially uncovering things that we don't already know, sending this cheating saga into an entirely new chapter. Niemann, of course, responded, saying that he'd rather retire from chess than go around spreading malicious accusations and character assassinations, and later tweets at Rogan saying that he is ready to share his truth. The timing, the upcoming documentary, Joe Rogan, it just feels like this shit is somehow scripted. But whatever the case may be, it's clear that these two have not moved on from what's happened. And given the way that this chess year is already shaping up, I am positive that this is all far from being over. He said it started from one comment that someone made in a different chess player's Twitch stream, and then it just spiraled from there, with like other people actually like investigating whether or not you can get told positions to play via vibrations in your bum. But he said an earpiece would probably be a little bit more realistic.